has a real passion for families in need, as many of us do, working particularly with people around affordable housing and building healthy communities. She's going to share some of what she does, working with those families and the organization and efforts of Habitat for Humanity in our community. Melissa.
Thank you for inviting me here today. I'm super excited about being here. I brought a little gift for Steve. This is a very coveted Habitat for Humanity keychain, and we hand them out to families when we dedicate their homes. So they're very special to us. So I want to give Steve one and thank you.
Yay!
Thank you.
I feel especially blessed for being here today. And I usually start about when I talk to groups about what we do and then why we do it. But I think I'm going to reverse it today because I just feel especially blessed and kind of called upon it today. We build for a lot of different reasons, for a lot of different types of families, single-headed families, two-parent working kinds of household families, people who don't have any small children. So there's a lot of myths about who we actually build for, and I kind of want to talk about that today. People think about, oh, you know, Habitat for Humanity builds for, low-income families. Those nice people build for low-income families. But I want to talk about low-income families just for a minute today. In Clark County, I don't know if anybody realizes what's going on with the rental industry. Does anybody know what the vacancy rate right now is for? I think it's 2%.
Yeah.
2%. So that means there's 2% vacancy rate, and I know people that are looking, and I get phone calls every single day. So what that means for our hardworking low-income families, and low-income families are families who fall between the 30 to 60% median income for Clark County. Does anybody know what the median income is for Clark County? 35. What? 35. It's for a dual income family, $66,000 a year. Okay, so our families have to fall between 30 to 60% of that. So a single-headed family making $11 an hour, between $10 and $11 an hour, to afford an apartment, which they can't find because there's 2% vacancy rate right now, has to work 70 hours a week to afford a $1,000 apartment with their other bills. 70 hours a week. So if they have a partner, married or not, who's also helping them, and chances are they have more children, they need a larger apartment. Rent is going from $1,000 to $1,400 a month. So that means both parents are working 2 jobs, trying to raise their kids. So I want to talk about those low-income families, because some people think, there's a myth about low-income families. They think, wow, why don't they get a better job? Why don't they go back to college? Why don't they do this? Why do they have so many kids? So I want to talk about a family that I want you to keep in mind every time you hear low-income family. This family is one of my favorite families, and he was an architect, making pretty good money, doing pretty well for his family, wealthy wife, 3 children, and then tragedy struck and she came down with cancer. Or no, excuse me, MS. So it's like, okay, they're going to deal with the lot that the Lord handed them, and they're going to get through it. 3 months later, he was struck with cancer. So being a sole provider for his family, an architect, he needed treatment, she needed treatment. The work had to let go, they had to get on assistance, they had to move, and they fell further and further and further and further down that housing ladder. They ended up in a home that had slanted floors, no insulation, improper heat, which is a lot of low-income families are living in substandard housing. So here is a man who educated himself, provided well for his family, and due to life circumstances beyond their control, ended up a low-income family. That story happens to a lot of families, not just because they didn't go to college, not just because they had 5 kids, not just because they weren't raised in a loving, nurturing environment at home. So there's a lot of life circumstances. Spouses leave, people get cancer. When the recession happened, people lost their jobs. So what does that do? That pushes those people out of stable housing into lower income housing. And as the vacancy rate gets tighter and the rents go up, those people are pushed even further out, the ones that are in the middle. So those are the families that I want to talk about. These are families that are working 2 jobs, on top of getting Johnny to soccer, on top of doing homework, on top of all the other activities that they're involved with, and they're just out there just really working hard. These are your sisters, these could be your co-workers. I won't mention the bank's name, they're not here, but one of my other favorite families works at a bank. She works at a bank. She works at a prominent bank in our community, and she works very, very hard. And she qualified for our program, which is low income. So it doesn't matter if you work at Walmart, or you work at a bank, or you work at Wafer Tech. The wages are too low, and the rents are too high. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that to really kind of give a better understanding of the families that we serve. So then they come to us, and they call us, and we need housing. We need better housing. I've got a roof, kid you not, we do family interviews, and we have to do site visits for them to qualify. And the light fixture in their apartment was filling with water. And this is what the landlord told them. Well, just unscrew it and just empty it out. It'll be okay.
Oh.
So, I mean, these are the kinds of conditions because that's all they could afford. Single mom, she's working real hard, but that's all she could afford. So they call us, and they have to apply. Our program is not a giveaway. It's a hand up, not a handout. They have to apply, and they have to qualify. Our program is unique in such that we're one of the largest nonprofit, volunteer-based mortgage countries in the country and international. In the country, we hold 30-year mortgages. They pay their mortgage payment every single month on time. It's not a rental program. It's not a giveaway program. We don't give away houses. They actually pay for them. On top of paying for them once they're selected. And the process is not for the faint of heart. It's a very rigorous application process. So once they apply and they're accepted, they have to do for a dual family partner, mom, dad, or partners, married or not, 500 sweat equity hours. And as you notice, the weather outside is really kind of hot. They go out there in the heat of the day, in 90-degree weathers, or in the cold of the winter when it's cold and it's freezing, and they dig ditches, and they put their siding on. They put, they do the painting, they put the flooring in. Our families, in conjunction with volunteer-based, that's how we can build homes as inexpensively as we do, go out there and they roll up their sleeves on top of their jobs, on top of running Johnny to school, on top of homework, on top of all those things. They put in an additional 500 sweat equity hours to build their home. That way they're invested, they build their neighbor's home, they build another Habitat homeowner's home, they volunteer in the office. So they're invested in that home. They're giving back, they're helping another person, because that's what we want to do is we're helping you, you're helping yourself, and help your neighbor. And so, in addition to that, single families, I wanted to know, do 250 hours, so it's exactly half. So that's kind of why we build. It's because families in Clark County, and families is a wide description. It's anywhere, like I said, from the senior citizen who lost her husband, who lost her home in the last recession, and she has nowhere to go. She's moved 3 times because rent's just too high. Her kids don't have a place for her to live, and she has nowhere to go. So what she do? She called us. She's considered a family, just by herself. No little children running around, but she has nowhere to go. And we believe that everybody deserves a decent place to live. So that's why we build. That's why we care. And that's why you go and you take your items to the Clark County Habitat for Humanity store. Has anybody been there? Mm-hmm. I love it. It's great. I spend way too much money there as I go out on a break. And those donations sent to the store come back to our program. The mortgages that our families pay go back into a revolving program that builds for more and more families, for more and more communities. So not only do we build here in Clark County, and we just dedicated our 33rd home, we build internationally as well. We tie 10% to an international build every year. Last year we went to Guatemala. We have built 33 homes internationally, and we're going back to Guatemala and help build again this year. We can build more affordably in underdeveloped countries because they don't have the permitting fees and some of those fees that we have here. So if you know anybody who can do anything about the fees here, we can double our capacity to build. So that's why we build, because families deserve a decent place to live. They're living in crime-ridden neighborhoods. They're living close to parks where drugs are being sold, and they don't feel comfortable letting their families go play in the park. I actually interviewed a woman, I've got a million stories, but I actually interviewed a woman where kids from the neighborhood used to run through her apartment to get from the front door to the back door to get away from people who were chasing them. I mean, these are the conditions our families are living in. And people think, well, why don't they move? Well, why don't they move? Why don't they move? 2% vacancy rate. And rents are $1,400 on up for a 3-bedroom apartment in Clark County. Sometimes get on Google and look, get on Craigslist and look and see what the rents are. The rents are pretty comparable to house payments right now, and some of them are not worth living in. So one of the reasons we can do what we do is because of the amazing volunteer base that we have. We are one of the largest volunteer-based organizations in the country. And I'm going to call someone out here because she's standing up getting coffee right now. We can't do what we do without our amazing board members who work tirelessly to help organize our events, to help promote and spread the word of our organization. And they work, most of you are on boards, probably you know what it's like. So it's from our board members to our committee members to all the volunteers that come out and work on our job site in the heat of the day, in the cold of the winter, in the rain. I mean, they're digging ditches with shovels. We don't use power tools. They're hammering nails, out there all day long. And that's what keeps our homes affordable. We only contract out for 3 different things: plumbing, electrical, and HVAC. We do everything else ourselves with a volunteer base. We have regulars that come out. They're super great. So if you want to volunteer, my card is in the back. You can call our volunteer coordinator. It's a lot of fun. If you think your company might want to come out and volunteer, we can do a group build day. That's a lot of fun. And so they work with our homeowners side by side. They get in there and they swing the hammers and they dig the ditches and they put the siding on. And they're invested. Our volunteers are invested. And we do have volunteers that go on our international builds as well. So that's kind of exciting. Every year a couple of them come and build with us internationally. So that's a lot of fun. So we have lots of programs under our Habitat umbrella. We have a program that we're really proud of. It's called NR. We adopted several years ago Fruit Valley. Fruit Valley is a neighborhood that needs some attention and a little bit of love and needs some help sprucing up their homes because a lot of the homeowners there don't have the means, or a lot of them are the older citizens that lived there that were the original homeowners. So their homes are kind of a little tired, they need a little sprucing up, and that's a Brush with Kindness program. So that's just a branch, and our volunteers go out, and a homeowner has to apply. Maybe they need a little facelift on their home and it needs to be painted. We've had people whose decks have rotted or their fences has fallen down, or their brush has just gotten unmanageable because maybe they were disabled and they couldn't get out in their yard. So that's one of our programs. We will go out. You don't have to live in Fruit Valley, by the way, to have this program, so if you need anybody. And we go out and we do what they need to do. A lot of those projects don't cost anything. Some homes need a little more extensive work, and we have a very, very, very low interest. And some of it's as simple as their fence fell down. Sometimes we get grants to fill those needs, and sometimes we don't. But it's a nice, we work with the community center there. We help try to bring in fresh food. So we're working with the community to see what they want in their neighborhoods. Another couple programs that a lot of people, there's a myth that Habitat, when I go to ask people for sponsorships, sometimes they'll say, well, we like to give to organizations that help with education and children. And I think, well, we don't exactly have chipmunks living in our Habitat houses. We have children living in our houses. And children who grow up in a stable home that don't have rain coming down through their light fixtures, by the way, and giant bubbles in their ceilings, which actually means that their ceiling's going to fall in, or mice infested, or that the families have to move every single year, or when a landlord wants to remodel. Does anybody know what the notice date is? Not an eviction date, but the notice date is the landlord has a right in the state of Washington to give a tenant 20 days. 20 days. I can't gather boxes in 20 days and pack in 20 days, let alone find a place in the 2% vacancy rate. So they get a notice 20 days because somebody wants to remodel and they have to move. And where do they go? We have families that are moving as far as Cowlitz County because that's where they can afford rent. So anyway, we have families that that use other branches of our programs. And like I was saying, when groups or someone tells me, well, we give to people who help children and education. Well, we do that too. We help those children, if you think about the stability of a stable home and what that means to them. A table to do homework, a table to apply for that college application so they can lift themselves up and go on to lead a better life. Just not having to share a floor to a bedroom. We have families that had disabled children that gave up their bedroom to put their disabled child because of all the medical equipment into the larger bedroom, which wasn't even that larger, and then they shared their bedroom, a smaller bedroom, with the younger children, just to give the handicapped child a bigger, because of all the equipment. We have several of those families doing that, and they've applied and have been accepted into our program. But one of the couple programs that we're really proud of, that we do help lift the community up in education and children, is we partner with the Evergreen School District. Has anybody heard of our geometry and construction class? Yeah. Yay! Okay, our geometry and construction class is a program that was not working really well with the Evergreen School District. They were building park model homes, those really small, skinny that you can go put on a lot at a lake or something like that, and they weren't selling. When the recession hit, they didn't sell. They just sat there. So I'm not even sure how it happened. Anita Jinks is a board member, and our executive director somehow got in contact and started building this idea of, what if we take that part over for you? What if we help you manage that part of building those homes and work with you and then sell that home to a family? That way you're not stuck with it. We're getting involved in the education. So that was from geometry and construction. So what happens is these math classes, they're actual math classes that teach practical applications to their students in math. These are students who have to apply for the specific math class, and then they take those principles and they go out and actually on a job site at the high school. It's Evergreen High School and it's Mountain View High School. And then they help build the house. So they're taking what they learn in the classroom and they're going out and actually using it. They're building construction skills, they're having a good time, they're getting to meet the families, so they're getting to understand work that is being done in the community, but that how giving helps somebody else. So Mountain View is doing it, and Evergreen High School is doing it. So they go out and they build on the construction site, and families go out there and they build with them side by side, and it's an amazing partnership. We are working on we've done 2 homes that have been dedicated already, and it's quite interesting if you ever want to follow us on Facebook and see it. So the first couple of years we built half a house at each school, truck each half to where the lot is, put it together. The house the first year didn't go together very good. It was kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. It just didn't quite marry out very good. But the second house, I was there when they put it together, just went together, just spot on. It was quite amazing to see the difference. And so this year, the program is, one school is building an entire house, not one half. And it's a larger house in half so we can move it. And then the other one is building a smaller house for a single gentleman who is losing his sight. So housing has become a big issue for him. So they're moving. That smaller house will be for him, and we're fitting it with special needs that he will have for his future as he continues to lose his sight. So that's super exciting, and the kids love it. They've had to double, the attendance has doubled for those classes. They've had to add more classes, as well as their scores have gone up, attendance have gone up. It's a very successful program. We're really proud of it, and that's attributed largely to the Evergreen School District 2 working so hard. The other program is everybody's heard of PIC, Partners in Careers. Yeah, they're great, they're amazing. They have a youth build program. Their youth build program received a grant, and it's with a lot of other partners in the community. This is a long list, and I don't want to forget anybody. So they took a group of disadvantaged youth from the ages of, I believe, 18 to 23 or 24. And they haven't graduated, they don't have a GED, and they're kind of out there not knowing what they're doing. Some of them have gotten into trouble, and some of them are just, they're going to end up, some of them just lost. So this program takes these young adults, they work a very rigorous program with them to get their GED. Then, when they're done with their GED, guess what they get to do? they get to build a house. They're going to take some of the things that they've learned in getting their GED, the math components, and they're going to actually get to build a house with Habitat. Then they're going to get to see, you know, I'm receiving something. I'm receiving this group of people that care about me, that mentor me, that helps me with my education, to give me a leg up because I was lost. And then I'm going to give back to the community. By the time they're done building the house, they'll have actual construction certificates that they can go and use to get a job if they want to go into construction or all the different facets of what goes into building a house. They'll have actual certificates, a great resume, and a leg up. Plus, they give it back to the community that is given to them. So it's a wonderful partnership, and we're really proud of it. The phase we're in now is them getting their GED. So we're really excited about it. So the next time you hear, oh yeah, but I want to give to an organization that helps kids in education, that's us. So if you want to volunteer, I know the weather's hot, so you might want to wait till spring or till it cools down. We build all year round. We have 5 families in the pipeline right now, actually 4 in the pipeline right now. What that means is we're building, and these families are waiting for their homes, so they're going through all the processes. We also make our families go through educational components, so it's not only are they having to do their sweat equity hours, they're doing that on top of their jobs, on top of helping try to go to school, do homework. They have educational classes they have to take, budget classes, home maintenance classes, good neighbor classes, because believe it or not everybody knows how to be a good neighbor. Moving from an apartment to moving to your own home, there's a lot of differences there. So we give them those tools to be successful. So, yeah, that's. I know I talk really fast. Oh, we have a Women Build program, sorry, for all you ladies in the audience, and we're really proud of that. In 2012, we built with 60% female volunteer labor and funds raised by, with contributions from organizations, a female-led home project, construction, raised the funds, and built a home and dedicated in 2012. So we're in the process of raising funds again for the same thing. So if you're interested in joining us for raising funds, or we have a upcycle remakers fair, it's kind of a spin on the recycled arts fair, that's in August. So if you make something that you want to donate for sale, or if you want to come out and volunteer for the fair, or if you just want to come out and see what we have to offer, we're having a refashion show and music, and come on out, it's August 22nd. And I forgot to bring this flyer, so look at it on our website. I usually bring a little gift for everybody, and I went to grab the roll. It's a clean for your car. We're out. So I'm so sorry. I sent it to all the golfers who golfed in our tournament. So if you take my business card and email me, I will mail you one, I promise. I think I don't see a clock anywhere, so I'm kind of losing track of time. So the last thing
it's 8:30.
It's 8:30, okay,
8:30.
all right. So the last thing is I'm also the events manager along with the family service manager. So we do fundraisers, golf tournaments. Our annual breakfast is coming up. That's September 9th, and I brought 2 flyers in the back. One is if you want to host as a table captain, and guess what? It doesn't cost you any money. It's free, totally free. Breakfast is free. To host as a table captain is free as well. If you want to sponsor your company, there's a flyer out there that's back. What we really care about is spreading the word of our mission and what we do in the community. That's really what we care about. Our goal is to hit 50 table captains this year. That's 500 people in the room, because we really want to spread the word about what we do and why it's important. We want to honor volunteers who have come out through the year, and we want you to get to meet our families to show, it's just so moving to hear their stories. Another story, and I'll close with family, but they're all favorites. I say favorite, but they're all favorites. I love them all. She came to us and applied. She works at Walmart, has a little girl. And in the winter and the springs, when the rains come, she was renting a basement apartment. It started to flood. Water came in and seeped in, and the landlord who she was renting from, it was off Craigslist, but that's all she could afford. Water came in, and then the carpet got soaked. She had to lift all her furniture up on blocks of crates so it didn't get wet. And her little girl had to wear boots, rubber boots. People think, why didn't you move? Well, why didn't she move? Because she works at Walmart. She came here from another country, and she was trying to provide her daughter with a better life. So she worked really, really hard at Walmart. And when the rain stopped and it started to dry up, what do you think happened to all that wet carpet?
Mold.
The little girl was sick, had asthma, had breathing problems, and so did she. So she applied for our program, and she lives in a beautiful home now, and she doesn't have to worry about anything flooding or mold or breathing problems. And her daughter's thriving and doing well and has no more asthma. Her asthma has cleared up. So these are the reasons why we build. This is our mission. So everybody, we really do believe that everybody deserves a decent place to live. So do you have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
I do. What about land acquisition for the homes? How's that work?
That's a great question, land acquisition. We receive land from a variety of sources. We purchase land with grant money. We receive land in donations. Sometimes we receive land and we don't know that it's been gifted to us. We find out later this has happened, but there's no access point. So that's sometimes a problem. That actually happened. We buy land through, sometimes somebody will come to us. This happened on a lot closer to Main Street. Someone wanted to sell their lot and they wanted to sell it to somebody who was going to use it, so they gave us a deal we couldn't pass up. So sometimes we do buy land outright. Yeah, and we just bought a huge development. It will serve 8 to 9 families. It's our biggest development to date. We're super excited about it. It's called Middle Way. And we also bought a smaller lot with grant funds off Winchell that will serve 3 families as well. So we're growing and we're building all the time. But that's a good question. Thank you.
In the county as well as the city?
Yeah, we do build in the county, yes. We have to, when things started getting better, as the economy got better, unfortunately land went back up. It's easier to get land. We also get land gifted and granted from the city and the county. But when the property values go back up, people are hang on to their property tighter, and they're less likely to give you that good deal. They're less likely to give you a lot. We received a lot from the city a couple of years ago that had an old drug house on it that was just, and they couldn't sell it. It was during the recession, so they gave it to us, granted it to us. We tore the house down, which helped improve the neighborhood, the environment, got rid of the drug house, and we built a beautiful home on it. So our homeowners pay property taxes, so they pay their mortgage insurance, so they're just like any other homeowner. So, yeah.
So how are mortgage interest rates determined for your mortgages, and then is there any recapture of any kind when they go to sell the property?
That's a great question. Anybody want to guess what our interest rate is? 0. We sell our homes to our homeowners at a 0 interest rate. And some people think, how can you do that? It's because we build with that amazing volunteer base. It doesn't cost us hundreds and thousands of dollars to build a home. We can build a home for about $75,000 or less. That's because we built with that. We do the foundation ourselves. It's just the building materials, and sometimes we get in kind. We sell that home. So I've been here 5 years, and I have not seen a home with a house payment for a 3-bedroom house over $650. That includes insurance, and that includes taxes. That's because there's no interest. So remember that single family that was earning $11 that has to work 70 hours a week to pay the $1,100 rent. They don't have to work 70 hours a week if they hold one of our mortgages. So.
And what about the recapture question?
Oh, recapture question. So it's an appreciated. It gets technical, but it's an appreciated equity system. It's to protect habitat from families coming in and flipping a house. A family comes in, they live there 2 years, they sell it, they make $200,000 profit. That doesn't happen. So the longer they live there, the more equity, obviously, they gain, just like any other homeowner. We have shared appreciation. So if they sell within the first 5 years, that shared appreciation, we have the first right to buy back. And it's a scale of the longer they live there, they obviously own the house and it is their house, but the longer they live there, the less appreciation that we receive in the buyback. So if they, like a family had lived there and paid their mortgage off, and if they sold their house, it's theirs free and clear, there's no more shared appreciation, they can then sell it for whatever they want. But that's to keep families from flipping homes.
So give me a little bit more explanation on that 5 years. So they go out 5 years and you guys have an equity share.
We have we have the first right to buy back.
At what, at the market rate, or it's a?
It's not, we look, when we sell them their home, we take, and it gets confusing. We take two things into account, market rate, and we will not sell their house to them for more than 30% of their income, what their gross income is. So there's a big difference between 30% of their income and what their payments and what the value of their house is. And this is Habitat nationwide, and what the value market rate is, and we take the lower. Because we take the lower so the family can afford it. If we take market rate, the family can't afford it. And I don't know how that formula came about. It's been in place for years and years and years, but we take the lower. We have to know the market rate for other things like insurance and those kinds of things and taxes, and that's what they pay their taxes based on. But the selling price of their home is the lower amount, is the 30%. And I know it doesn't make a lot of sense, but yes, keep it affordable for them.
Okay, so I'm going to disconnect about the market the answer then. So let's take an example. You sell them a house for $100,000 that you guys build, and that's the mortgage, and they live in it for 5 years, and now it's worth $200,000. Is your buyback at say 150, or the market value is 200? How much of that $100,000 equity do you guys recapture?
That's a good question. It wouldn't be at the market value rate. It's a percentage. Every year they live in, it's a percentage, and I don't know that off the top of my head. I can find that information out for you if you're interested in. And the interesting is we haven't had any families sell.
Why was that, right?
Yeah, because they don't get back, if they live in there less than 5 years, they're not going to get anything back because it's the lower number. We're not going to sell it at the market rate. We have the first right to buy back at the lower rate. That's the rule. We have the right, and I wasn't explaining that, I'm sorry, to buy back at the lower rate, because then we're going to take that house and sell it to another low-income family. So very, very rarely do we sell homes outright. That's going to happen. We sold a lot that had a house on it. For some reason, we decided it would have cost us more to tear this house down because there was a lot of things going on with the house. And so we sold that lot because we took the money from the sale of the lot in that house to buy another lot. That wouldn't cost us tear down fees. So I don't know if that answered. It gets complicated, but yeah. So, but we haven't had anybody sell. We've had a few divorces in the family, and then we have to go back to the sweat equity, who put in with sweat equity, how long have they lived there, and it kind of goes to that, who gets the house. And then we have to look at other things, so that's happened as well. But they still didn't sell, they kept it, which makes sense. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
What is your selection process to qualify a family?
Our selection process, they start with just a basic application, just like anybody. Anybody would have to fill out a basic application. And I screen it, that's one of my jobs as a family service manager, is I screen it for ability to pay. I make sure that they have all their documentation for their jobs, their child support, their alimony, whatever income they receive, Social Security or whatever. And then I look at their long-term debt, kind of like a bank does, and they can't be over 30% in long-term debt, and I haven't